Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, ladies and gentlemen. With another program of Let Art, Radio Pakistan, Islamabad, Planet FM 87.6, I am your host Munir Fayyaz. Dear audience, as you know, that in our program Let Art, we discuss recent issues of Pakistani literature, of culture, of art, translation, language, verbal and performing arts. And we're very fortunate to have us today as guest Miss Zainab Dar. Zainab Dar is a renowned theatre director of the capital. She's also a Kathak director, and she's an educationist teaching in a media studies department of a well-known university of the capital. We'll be talking about a very ignored area in Pakistani cultural milieu, that is theatre. Theatre has suffered a great decline down the decades. Theatre still is on the rise. Theatre is doing new experiments with shadows, with stage settings, with so many things in drama. The world is exploring new means to convey theatre to masses in a very effective and very artistic way. And the other one is the dance, Kathak dance. Iqbal said, "Sher goya ruhe mausiqi hai, raqs uska badan." This dance, Kathak dance, in Pakistan that witnessed a great rise in 60s and 70s, and we have Nahid Siddiqui, we have Nighat, and we have Zarim Panna. We have so many dancers, and this poetry of organs, poetry of body, was somehow, this was snubbed and this was held back for a couple of decades, falling in between. But again, this is going to rise, this is rising, and because dance is a natural way of expressing joy since times primitive. So we'll be talking on different aspects of theatre and Kathak with very well-known, very great artist herself, director of these two forms of art, Miss Zainab Dar. Zainab Dar, welcome.
Thank you so much for inviting me over.
Zainab, theatre, as I have said in my prologue, this theatre has suffered a lot.
Yes.
Theatre on the world, when I study as a student, and I am a teacher of literature and modern drama as well, when we see there's so many techniques, so many forms in prevalent theatre, they have emerged innovatively in modern era and in postmodern era as well. When we see Brackett and Eugene O'Neill, and culturally we see in Japan, in China and in other parts of the world, theatre is still one of the most effective mediums, not only in the terms of arts but also for bringing a massive change on socio-political level. In Pakistan, we are suffering from a very dearth, a very scarcity of theatre. Am I right, or am I simply ignorant about the things going on your side?
No, you are absolutely right. Theatre, according to me and perhaps many others, it is the strongest form of media because the visuals that you create on stage, they leave an impact on the minds and the memory of people. That is why for years and years and years, as long as we can go back in history,
yes.
theatre has been used to bring about social changes, political changes. It has been used as an active form of media during revolutions. Even in the times when the British Raj was here, in the subcontinent itself, theatre was used to raise voices, to create awareness. So yes, theatre has always been, all across the globe, the strongest form of media to create socio-political change. Unfortunately, in Pakistan, it was deliberately destroyed because the authorities never wanted that change to take place. Because you need puppets, you need people to follow you. You do not need emancipated minds. You do not need people with opinions. You need followers. You do not need human beings. You need robots. So yes, it is very disturbing. But now, in this past decade, I'm very hopeful. I see change because people now want to listen to a different narrative. People want to see different things which are not cliched. I've been associated with this form since I was very young. I was 7-8 years old when I started theatre. I started my base is street theatre, which is a form of revolutionary theatre. In some countries, it's called guerrilla theatre also.
Street theatre is still on the go in the world.
Yes, it is. It's still it never died.
Nautanki is in our culture.
The Nukkar theatre, the Nautanki theatre, the street theatre. It has always been there. And it has been with me for over 3 decades now. So that was my base. So when I decided to start theatre in Islamabad after I shifted here, I did not just want to do theatre. I want to do theatre for a cause, to raise a question. That is why my platform is called Tayyab. Something that makes you wonder, something that makes you think. Exactly. Na junura na pari rahi. So yes, so we do theatre, but we do theatre with a meaning. So I'm trying to bring back the traditional form of theatre. The theatre which raises questions, the theatre which helps you think, open up your mind. So you're right, it was in a very bad state. But now I'm pretty hopeful. I see a lot of people who are trying to mainstream theatre as a very solid form of performing arts.
When you say you want to restore it in the traditional form, does it mean because our traditional theatre was, so much on the folklore side? We had folklore, and the same way when we talk about Imtiaz Ali Taj and other people who have been adapting.
That is theatre based on traditional stories. What I'm referring to is the tradition of theatre itself.
Okay. And even that...
Where stage is very sacred to you, where you meditate before you walk on stage, where you live that character for months and months before you act that out on stage.
Seriously, exactly.
When you actually think for 1 month before the performance, we start calling each other with the names that we will be portraying
you go
on
in the
stage.
skin of that character.
Yes.
You have to live that.
So I'm trying to bring back that tradition where people would spend their evenings rehearsing theatre, respecting the stage, no shoes on stage, everything in its original form.
I remember Amanullah Khan Sahab saying that this stage is our Agla Jahan. People will get accounted for what they did in the hereafter, but we get accounted for here in right here.
If you look at what they did to theatre, I mean, look at the kind of theatre that was being shown to people with double meaning dialogues, with
pun attended so much.
Everything has become a joke. You have actually trained this nation to make a joke out of everything.
That is simple jesting.
Yes. You have reduced theatre to a joke with silly dances, with double meaning sentences, with making fun of people's bodies, their color, their height, their weight. This is what you have taught them. That is what I meant when I said theatre is so strong that it leaves an image in your mind. So when people go and see such a theatre, that is what they learn. You teach them proper language through theatre. You teach them proper traditions through theatre. You teach them a code of ethics through theatre. You teach them how to raise a question through theatre.
Obviously.
So that is what I'm trying to generate through.
In recent decades, I've seen that existential and absurd theatre that originated from West France. In fact, in Pakistan, we didn't have a tradition of that existential or absurd theatre. But now, in past few decades, as you have pointed out, in the recent decade, even it started. I counted from 2001 onwards. I have witnessed wonderful existential and absurd plays as well, and even those absurds when we say that we are there to raise questions, even that absurdity, even that existentialism is not without great questions.
Actually, theatre has many forms. I mean, you talk about absurdism, then there was theatre of cruelty which originated after the World Wars. People are trying to attempt that, even commedia dell'arte. People are trying to attempt them, which is something very good. Even when you say, I've seen people experiment with symbolism in theatre, with expressionism in theatre. Exactly.
Yes.
I mean, we ourselves did one theatre where, sometimes we use that phrase that our world got toppled upside down. So in that theatre, we actually used trees up above our heads in the fly area, and we made a sky under our feet. So that is how we showed that the world has toppled upside down. So expressionism you can use. I've seen people attempt it, and it is so beautiful that you're trying to experiment with different genres, different types of theatre. And this is what our youth should attempt, because theatre is the strongest medium of expression. You create ripples when you do theatre. You nurture minds when you do theatre, rather than sitting aimlessly on a couch and going through your phone. You might as well construct something, create something, and show it to people. There is no more, it is, for me, it is a very divine feeling to walk on stage in front of an audience and narrating your opinion, acting your opinion out in front of them. You see the response on the spot. So I think it's a very beautiful form.
Even Aristotle, some 2,500 years ago, he held theatre as the drama as the supreme art.
Yes.
And even before this, when we see some 3,000 years ago, the drama is in the soil, in the blood of this culture. And Bharatiya Natyama and Natya Shastra and all these texts, holy texts, they in fact included this drama into holy activities.
Not just holy activities. Why do you use drama? Why do we perform theatre on Christmas every time? We all know what happened, because it refreshes your memory. It makes it last longer. So you take your stories to the people to help them remember and memorize how things happened. This is how you keep your history alive. That's one way of doing it. So yes, theatre has been used for religious purposes, for entertainment purposes, but the kind of theatre I prefer is the theatre that helps you open your mind.
That is modern convention of individualism, of human-centered questions.
Yes, we question the axioms of life. We do not portray our characters as good or bad. We believe that, as we say in realism, that the character is a victim of forces larger than life. So all his or her decisions are influenced by the circumstances he's living in. So that is the kind of theatre I prefer doing.
I have experience, because I have so many friends doing theatre, and when I sit with them, I get to know that it is a very costly activity. You need to have your props and your settings or everything. Setting is an integral part of the drama. There can't be a play without a setting. Though there have been some modern plays with the least setting, with just a tree on the stage and nothing else, but still you need a lot of props. The funding is a problem. Funding is a question, because most of the people, they don't have these proper funds to establish a drama.
Actually, what happens is, especially the kind of theatre that I indulge in, nobody wants to fund it.
Yes.
Because most of it is very controversial, because it's the truth. And nobody wants to hear the truth, especially if it is not sugar-coated. So then what we do is, because my background is from street theatre, so minimalistic props. Most of the things we take out from our own homes. Mostly my students work with me. And they know, because it is theatre to create awareness, most of them don't even charge anything. So we calculate the production cost. I foot the bill for everything. And then we put a ticket.
Okay.
And that ticket then covers our production cost, and whatever is left, I distribute it among my cast.
So this is a cooperative sort of...
Kind of. Because people who work with me... they believe in the same ideology as I do, that things need to change.
And that I see, because this isn't only your story. All my friends like Urfi, Imran,
it's everywhere.
Everywhere is
it's everywhere, because if you want to create change, you have to begin at home.
It needs... Now, let me conclude it, that theatre at this very hour needs a lot of commitment for people involving in it. It can't be funded, it can't be, fed by some external hand.
Because unfortunately in Pakistan, it is still not a profession, it is still a hobby. I mean, I have been associated with the field of performing arts for over 3 decades now. People still ask me, what is your occupation? I tell them I'm a theatre activist, I'm a performing artist. Oh, nice, but what do you do? What's your job? I tell them this is my job. No, this is your hobby. What do you do to earn money?
Any real estate business.
Yes.
They expect you
So
to
then I tell them I teach performing arts also. Kehte, oh, so you are a teacher. That is your profession. So then I have
You are good to have it, but because I have heard that people say that कुछ करते भी हो या पढ़ाते ही हो.
Yeah, actually that's something. Acha, theek hai. It's all right. For women, it's a good profession to teach. So yeah, all of a sudden gender walks in. So yeah.
So this capitalism is dictating our lives, and theatre is a very powerful voice. Wherever I see the ideology of anti-capitalistic, anti-corporate approaches on the work in theatre, even in India when I see. So is there any hope? Because at this very hour, at the moment, the things
You're
are very
asking the wrong person. I'm an overly optimistic person. I will find hope in the bleakest of situations. I'm always hopeful. What happens is that if in a crowd of 100, 200 people, I managed to change the mindset of one person.
Yes, that's how it works.
Yeah, change is always sustainable. Change always starts small.
Yes. No doubt.
So when we talk about drastic changes, they always come in the form of disasters, floods, earthquakes, wars.
Revolutions.
Yeah, evolutions. They're always the Big Bang Theory. So yes, but sustainable change, deep-rooted change, it takes time to grow. It needs a lot of nurturing. Once it gains strength, it lasts longer.
And in short, there are only a few who really mean.
Yeah.
Who can bring us hardcore change.
Yeah.
So this is very nice. You really one more question. There is a convention, there is a belief that emergence of this modern electronic media, television and then cable television, and then there's so many YouTube channels. It has also gone against, it also put some hurdles in the way of theatre. Now people prefer electronic media more, but I still say theatre
People
has its
who like
own.
theatre will always like theatre because the charm of theatre will never die.
But has it presented challenges to theatre?
It has presented challenges in terms of the way we used to work, because now I actually have to teach children that you need to enunciate when you are in theatre. Their jaws are clenched, their facial movements are limited because those are perfect for camera, because camera is right there in your face. It can capture the minutest of expressions. But in theatre you have to overdo it because the person sitting in the last row will not be registering it. In all probability, the person sitting in the last row will not be looking at your face because he can't see your face or she can't see your face. So you will have to need your body extensions, the length, the extension of your arms, your body, your legs, your feet, your posture, to tell that person in the audience what you actually mean. You need to train your voice so that it reaches to the last row. That is where we are facing challenges, because students now, when I train them, I feel that the human expressions have been replaced by emojis. So rather than showing excitement through their eyes, their smile, the six facial muscles, the linear muscles that we have, they prefer sending an emoji. So yes, bringing their facial expressions out is a problem. Second challenge that I face is because they're not used to a lot of movement now. So it's very hard for me to open their joints, to tell them what is the role of a ball and socket joint in your body, what is the role of a hinge joint in your body, which joint is supposed to show direction, which joint is supposed to show the meaning of what you are saying. You have to continuously keep changing your facial expression. You have to use your hands when you are talking, all these things. So their coordination, the sync is off.
Yes, we say play of body precedes play of mind in drama.
Yes.
Your mind is reflecting in your body movement,
Exactly.
your gestures, postures, even how the way you stand matters.
Exactly. So that is the challenge that I'm facing when I'm training the youth of today, because they just hug themselves very tightly. They don't like to loosen up. Plus, when they are doing a role on stage, they are too obsessed with how they are looking. rather than indulging in the role itself. So it's very hard for me to tell them that, you are not you are the character.
Character, yes.
So if the character requires you to look ugly, you have to look ugly. The other day I was training somebody to be a very detestable character. So we kept on telling him, you're still looking adorable. You have to, the audience needs to hate you.
In drama, on stage and even in life, everyone is their own kind of beautiful.
Yes.
This ugliness is, it's a cultural convention,
Exactly.
it's a tradition.
So you have to do justice to the role. So the role comes first and you come later. On stage, you are not you. You are the character that you are playing.
And in drama, your appearance doesn't matter. It's your
Yes.
performance that makes you beautiful.
Exactly. So yes, that is a challenge that social media has posed for us. That everybody wants to look beautiful and acceptable, and everybody needs that validation all the time. I keep on telling my students, why do you need acceptance from other people? You need to accept yourself. So that is one challenge, yes. But thankfully, we are crossing those hurdles, although it takes more time now than it used to take earlier on. But we're doing it.
Stage still, I believe, is a strong nursery for every other media.
Yes, it is.
Once you are through stage, but television or electronic
It's a
media,
piece of cake.
it's a piece of cake for you, because
You
there's
become a one-take artist.
so many takes and retakes, and you can edit and you can
You're
add.
so
lights
used to
and-
doing things in one take that television becomes a piece of cake.
So this is still and I remember in the first generation of television artists, they were in the habit of speaking like this, as like they used to speak on stage.
Yes, with your chin up and your lungs filled with air and that voice throw, and you had to tone them down a bit.
And even stage artists, now we can see the traces of those stage. And one more question. When you put up a character on you, when you enter in that skin of that character, it sometimes becomes very difficult after the show is over to get out of that.
It takes a lot of
It
practice.
takes a lot of practice.
Yeah.
Because it requires a lot of negative capability, lot of empathy.
Actually, what happens is my students ask me, because when I direct, I portray every character for them on stage. So they sometimes ask me, how do you switch from one character to another so quickly? I tell them I have 30 years of experience with me. You will get there. It's called mental blocking. You just need to switch on and switch off your mind. But some characters are so intense that it takes some time to get out of that character.
Yes.
The intense ones, yes. It takes time.
I have read about actors like Dilip Saab that he was almost about to suffer from a brain hemorrhage after doing so many tragic characters.
Yes, it happens. It happens. I did this character of we were doing a play on Tagore, and I did this character of a woman who's very opinionated, who's educated, who's a writer, but she is not accepted by the society, her husband, her in-laws, and she faces that mental abuse. So I remember in the beginning, I used to feel so frustrated that what am I going through? And then I used to realize, no, I'm just playing that character. This is not my actual life. So it takes time. Sometimes intense characters do tend to grow on you.
Sometimes, in addition to this, another very subtle thing. The character doesn't get out completely. It leaves some of its
Of course
stresses
it
and they
does.
become a part of your personality.
Yes, it does.
In general.
It does. And you need to understand, you need to know how to compartmentalize your life when you are doing serious theatre. Because it requires compartmentalization.
But man is not that much easily, catalogable.
But that is what theatre trains you for.
Okay.
That is the beauty of theatre, that it trains you. See, what happens is when you are a theatre artist, you are switching between roles. You're living lives of two or more than two people at the same time, because you're being yourself, and then you're being one character, and if you're doing two plays, you're being three people at the same time. You learn to compartmentalize your life and the problems of your life. So this is what happens when my students, especially for the Kathak class, when they come to my studio, I tell them, whatever you were facing, you leave outside this door. Because here, you need to cleanse yourself. You need to empty. You become an empty vessel so that you can fill yourself up with these things. So this is what happens.
Oscar Wilde said, "And the wild regrets and the bloodiest sweats, none knows so well as I. For he who lives more lives than one, more deaths than one must die. So it is like dying in every character and then resuscitating from
Yes.
that everywhere. So it is sort of
So
mystic.
you rise as a phoenix every time.
Mystic experience.
Yes, it is.
Self-negation is always mystic.
It is. And then you see things more clearly.
Talking about Kathak. Kathak is a divine language.
It is.
It is channeling yourself with the higher energies, with the divine energies, with different forces of nature around you in wilderness, in cosmic, in cosmic areas. We had a great galaxy of Kathak dancers.
We did.
Ustad Maharaj Kathak, and then Nahid Siddiqui, Nigat Saiba, and Zareen Panna, and then for last 20-30 years we are suffering a block of Kathak dancers, and after such a long time I've come across you, and that was a great sigh of relief, because Kathak is very meditative, very mystic, very
It is.
self-emancipating.
It changes you as a person. The way it centers you. You're not scattered anymore. So yes, there was a dearth, because if you remember, in the 80s, most of these artists were either banned or they ran away, they were exiled or they went underground. So who would teach the generations that came after them in their absence? So yes, there was a big gap. And I was very young at that time. And I used to think that now it was my turn to learn and there's no one to teach. So you'll be surprised to know that I learnt much later in life.
Okay.
Because for a very long time, it was still considered as a taboo for girls from respectable families to learn this dance form. And I had to put up great fights in order to learn this dance form, because I wanted to, and I still do, want to break this notion about Kathak. It is not just the dance of the courtesans. It is the art of storytelling. It is more theatrical than theatre itself.
One poster tells all of the story.
Everything.
Every toda of Kathak is a world in it.
Everything. It's an art of storytelling. See, when I teach my students, I say that, look, Kathak comprises of 4 elements. The first element is your abhinay, the act itself, which includes your expressions. And expressions are generally generated from your face, your upper torso, and your arms. Feet are there to give rhythm and movement. That's it. You express from your upper torso, your arms, and primarily your face. And in your face, also primarily from your eyes. And then you have the anga, the posture. And then you have the vachika, the language. And then you have the ahar, the way you look. The way you dress up. The way you adorn yourself. So these 4 elements make up Kathak. Kathak in itself is based on the theory of Raza, which is all about aesthetics, which is all about creating and portraying emotions aesthetically, visually. And as I teach my students, there is a very, we call it a dancer's code. There's a shlok in Sanskrit which says, Yatho hasta tatho drishti, Yatho drishti tatho manaha, Yatho manaha tatho bhava, Yatho bhava tatho rasa. Meaning, where your hand goes, your eyes go. Where your eyes go, your focus lands there. Your man, your emotion, it all lands there. When you nurture your emotions, you create aesthetics. You create the ras. You create the whole image.
Wonderful.
So this is what Kathak is all about.
Wow, excellent. And this, you see, sense of beauty, aesthetics is
Yes.
this sense of proportion.
This grace, this beauty, this elegance, this is what Kathak is all about. I think a lot of fault lies with the way Kathak has been portrayed in our movies and dramas, because it has been reduced to mujra only. And that too sometimes in bad taste, if you don't mind me saying that.
No, not at all.
So the thing is, when some people come to my studio and they ask me, oh, you teach Kathak? I say yes. So in how many months do you give a crash course?
Oh God.
And then I tell them there is no crash
It
course
is
in Kathak,
lifelong
beta. I'm
experience. It is a
still
lifelong
a student.
experience,
I
yes.
consider myself a student still. Then they ask me, do you teach Bollywood? I said, no, beta, I'm sorry. I don't teach Bollywood. See, the impact of visual arts. You have reduced Kathak to mere latkas and jhatkas. No, it is the art of storytelling. Please come back to your roots.
It's a very composed art.
It has very calculated movements. And the gharana that I teach, the Lucknowi gharana, it has so much grace and beauty and elan and finesse that, my students sometimes tell me that, madam, you work so much on just a turn of the wrist.
It is Lucknowi Gharana caters more for semblance.
Yes. It concentrates more on portraying the words, the emotion, the story. So once because I've taught Kathak to disabled people also, because my motto is that you don't have to have your whole body to dance. You need to have a spirit to dance. So I've taught people on the wheelchair because I tell them you dance from your upper body. I had one student, she had a knee injury, and we were going to record this video. And she said, how will we record? I have a knee injury, I can't dance. I said, okay, we'll sit and dance.
Okay.
So we sat and danced. Once I had this workshop with some people, and there was this girl whose arm was amputated in a bomb blast. And she only had one arm. I said, why do you even bother using that arm also? Why don't we dance from our faces only? So we expressed the whole song through our face, and she was so happy. She said, I never knew I could dance from my face. That is the beauty of Kathak. It gives you so much joy, so much hope, so much life, and it is beyond your body. You don't need to have, people used to tell me, you don't have the body to dance. What is a body to dance? You need a soul to dance. You need a spirit to dance. You need to feel it to dance.
An internal rhythm to dance on.
Yes. You need to feel it. So sometimes people find it very funny because I make my students walk under running water. I make them walk on wet grass. I make them walk on sand. I make them feel textures. I ask them to open their arms and let the wind flow beneath their arms to know how your arms need to flow. This is how I teach because this is how I've learned. And that's the only way to teach it. You need to connect with the nature itself.
That's a great way.
Because all the rhythms that we have are taken, especially when I talk about Indus Valley civilization, when I talk about the subcontinent itself, everything that we have in terms of music or dance or rhythm, we have imbibed from the nature itself. Or our swaras, our 7 notes, they all have matching frequencies with one bird or animal or anything around us.
Those postures that we make in Kathak, they collaborate, they coordinate with the higher forces, with the stars, with galaxies, with quantum physics.
Yes.
And there's no expression in the world that can't be expressed in Kathak.
Yes, everything can be expressed in Kathak.
Even language lacks in so many things.
Yes.
Colors lack in so many aspects, but Kathak can express everything.
You can actually use your eyes to tell how far the person is. Is the person near? Is the person there? Is the person very far? Are you waiting? So the opening of your eyes show everything.
Nrit bhav that we say is all about it.
It's all about it.
Can we now, again, the same question, how can we, we scope it, or we can, because the kids learning, kids coming to, I am a teacher, you are a teacher yourself on university levels. Whole of this academia is suffering from the corporate demands. It is nursery of the corporate. And you were very right that we just get one or maximum couple of students from the whole of the lot who are really dedicated to arts, to languages, to literature, to this stuff we are talking about. So can we somehow, using this modern media, YouTube sort of things, because I have seen in YouTube small cinema industry has evolved, a parallel cinema has evolved, 5, 7, 10, 20 minutes movies are there, and then there are so many other activities that were that were cut off from the mainstream media, but this social media has given it an outlet, though it isn't that much of that much magnitude yet, but I see it will flourish.
Yes, you're very right. we can actually use social media to create awareness about these genres also. I personally am a grandmother at technology. So this year only, my students have forced me to make a YouTube channel for our platform. I still don't know how to use it. I'll be very frank with you. My students handle
But
it for me.
you can have a team of
Yeah, my students handle it for me.
It is how the team works.
Yes.
You can give the vision and direction.
Yes,
You can
so-
assure the quality.
So what we do is we try to put. Recently we started off with a tribute series to poets, different poets. We did a tribute for Sufi Tabassum. We composed Tot Batot. We did a tribute for Gulzar Saab. We did a tribute. We have been doing lots and lots of tribute series. We also did a tribute for Guru Dutt Ji.
And how does it work?
We record a Kathak themed video. I record it with my students in my own studio, and then we upload it on the YouTube. We've also uploaded a short play on freedom of expression, how the classroom behavior snubs children and kills critical thinking. So we do these small things, and we've started putting them on YouTube now. It's very recent, but we've started doing it.
Meeting you was, I am now thinking it was divine.
I'm humbled.
We speak the same language and we have the same diseases because I am also in favor of raising your voice wherever there is necessary, and people, we are on air, but let me say that people call the people like us are titled as mad people.
Yeah, I have a lot of people who sometimes call me psycho, sometimes call me psycho-liberal, sometimes call me mad, sometimes call me crazy, but it's okay. I mean, these are adjectives we've been living with for as long as I've existed. So that's okay.
But the thing is that the process should go on.
Of course.
You shouldn't surrender to
as
this.
long as you believe in the process, you believe in the concept of change. So never stop believing in the process.
Process, it goes on.
Yeah,
and the best thing is about the process is it goes on.
Yes.
And once you are in a process, everything is in the process.
Yes.
Nothing happens outside.
I mean, these days I'm telling my children that, look, you are the little buds that I'm sowing in the soil. Whether I exist or I don't exist, the show will go on.
And we pray for that they become big trees.
Of course they will. Of course they will. I'm telling you, I'm an overly optimistic person. I think that hope is the key to everything. If you have hope, you will never stop working for what you believe in.
And another thing, one old man, a scholar I interviewed in this very studio, he said a sentence and I still remember it. I still repeat it, that hope is a choice.
Yes.
And that you always have.
Yes. And you should always exercise that choice.
Oh, yes.
Never let go of your hope. And never let go of your dreams.
You have spoken beautifully on the basic pedagogy, basic scholastics of Kathak. I want to learn more. Tell us more about how the spirits, how this energy of soul corresponds with the energies around nature and in the universe. Are there this different asanas? Every asana has a frequency.
Yeah.
And the frequencies, the things around you on the matching frequency, do they communicate?
Actually, what happens is that the moment you start dancing, before we start dancing, we seek permissions.
Yes, Guru, that's must.
So even the gurus, we as gurus also seek permission from the soil, from up above,
from the higher forces.
So when we do asanas, when the moment we start our dance, we tap our feet, we open our arms, we gather all the positive energy towards our center, our core.
Now that is like...
Yes. And then we seek permission from above. We go down, we touch the ground. We touch the ground and then we touch our hearts. Because we say that we love the soil. And then we take one arm up and we are proud of our traditions.
Wow.
And then we gather everything, we put them all in the middle of our palms and we throw them towards the audience because we are going to share our energies, our skill, our prayers with you. So Kathak is the art of giving.
Wow, wonderful.
And when you start giving, you start receiving.
Yes.
And that is what fulfills you. That is what completes you. When we take those spins, the whole world is spinning around the sun.
The world.
Yeah, so when we whirl, when we spin, we become one with the universe. That is where we connect with God. So it's all in the spins. It is divine.
Quran says everything in the world is revolving around its beloved.
Yes.
महबूब के गिर्द गर्दिश कर रही है.
Exactly.
And this is most of the time, this is the anti-clockwise movement that we study in physics.
Yes. So that is how you spin. You spin like this. And the more you spin, the more your soul reaches out to the Creator. That is the beauty of Kathak.
The Sufi, the Darwish dance of Firqa Maulviya, inspired by Maulana Rumi and Shams
The whirling
Tabrizi,
Darwish.
The whirling Darwish.
Yeah,
and
that also has
tells
4
a
steps.
story.
Yeah, it also
Yeah.
has.
What
I mean,
is
when you enter the stage,
Sorry.
your arms are folded. It means you're ready to surrender. And then they slowly start opening. It means you're willing to reach out. You're opening up. And then your arms reach up. They're above your head, which means now you are one with the universe. And then it's
One arm
time.
drops.
Yes, and then you start coming back to this world towards the end. So those are 4 stages of whirling.
And there is another stage in the midway when one arm is facing the sky and the second one is down, and
Because
they
then you have
spin.
made a connection.
You are receiving energies from
Yes,
the heavens.
you have made that connection. You're one, and then you start coming down. You start coming back to this world. So it's beautiful. Same with Kathak.
But it is very important for you if you want to become a medium. It is very important for you. It is a compulsion for you to be empty at first.
Of course.
Empty yourself.
That is what I tell people, that an artist is an empty vessel. You need to fill yourself up. So yes, in order to receive, see, that is what we say when we say we are humbled. We always say thank you with our hands closed. Why? We bow down because we are humble. The longer you stay humble, the longer you are empty, the longer you can be filled more. You receive more. When you say, I know everything, you are filled up. You don't receive anymore. So
Emptying yourself is the key.
Yes,
it is the threshold.
Yes, it is the first step to learn is to unlearn.
Great.
So you need to unlearn whatever this world has taught you to learn something new. You need to keep your experiences with you because your experiences will be portrayed in your dance or your performance. But in order to learn something so divine, you need to create that space inside you. If you fill yourself up with negativity, with hatred, with how we judge people, how we look at other people, then you won't be able to connect.
And I feel this arts in general, poetry, painting, music, and Kathak above all, drama, is a very good medium now that we have tried in past history, and in recent history and the longest history as well. We have tried everything to bring humanity together, but everything has a bias. Your nation state, your religion.
Because everything has a different language.
Your nation state.
Music is one language, dance is one language, expression is one language. There is no division in language.
Tear and laughter are all the same.
They're all the same to everyone.
Pain and pleasure are all the same.
Every person anywhere in the world knows what a smile means. They know what a sad expression looks like. You don't have to use words to tell people you are sad, you are hungry, you are happy, you are excited, because your face shows it all. That is what unites people.
I've been saying this through, past few years, that I have narrowed it down that if now something can bring whole of the humanity together, it's only art. It's only poetry.
I have been saying it for, I don't know, as long as I can remember, because even I'll give you a very simple example. Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan Sahab used to perform in countries where no one understands Urdu, let alone Punjabi. His concerts used to be full. Why? Because people understand the rhythm. They understand those chords. They understand the language of music.
And rhythm is a thing that is there everywhere in the everything of the universe.
Exactly.
In particular.
So they relate to it. You do not need words to express. You need emotions to express. Performing arts, all forms of performing arts, they nurture your emotions. They nurture your expression.
And even they purify your emotions.
You will be surprised to know that 2 of my students have actually left therapy
Yes, it is the greatest
after
therapy.
they joined my class.
It is the greatest therapy. No
so
doubt.
so it cleanses you, it keeps you centered, it keeps you focused, it keeps you pure.
Elevated,
Yes,
connected to a higher world.
exactly. So sometimes my mother often tells me that you don't pray very often. So I tell her, Amma
It is
ji,
prayer.
So I tell them, Amma ji, tusi panj vele, asi har
Hare
vele.
vele, wah, wah,
So yes, we are always connected to
It is very
the Creator.
charismatic talking to you, Zainab, and
Thank you so
I
much.
was much relieved, much elevated today by your talk, and it was like like souls talking to each other. More of this.
I'm very humbled. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming here, dear audience. Zainab Dar was giving a very profound, very touching, very mighty talk. These are the things that we really need in not only in our country but in the world as well. Globe needs more of the people. Now we have done with these success stories. We need more of good people. We need more of real people in around us. These success stories have become outdated, promoted by corporate and state. So and now really I don't want to speak anymore because the aura, the feeling that Zainab has created. So much for today in our Lit Art program, Planet 87.6. I'm your host Munir Fayyaz. This program is produced to you by Kamran, Tariq, and supervised by Syed, Tayyab, Raza. I hope to see Zainab again, and we'll elaborate or talk in another program. Thanks again for coming today.
Thank you so much for inviting
Thank you very
me.
much. Allah Hafiz.
Khuda Hafiz.